I mean, you said it's money and the ads and that they're doing for money, but what picture are they painting of Mandel that's so attractive that it's got the race this close then?
Well,
what is it?
Our attention as Ohioans, as Americans, is oftentimes limited to 30-second commercials because we have pressing issues. We're thinking about the next month's rent, or our kids going to high school, or how we're going to afford health care for our grandparents if the Republicans were to repeal, as they call it, Obamacare. They're thinking about their sons and daughters and their moms and dads and their grandparents. And we recognize that. And the way we communicate oftentimes depends on those 30-second sound bites. If you were to look at the attacks that have been ongoing for the last several months, that have been funded and fueled by the Koch brothers and others close to Karl Rove, those dollars funneled with Josh Mandel's approval into his campaign and on behalf of his campaign, you'd wonder why we're not down by 25 points. And the reason we're not is because Sherrod Brown, in the words of these great generals, these great patriots, has stood up for veterans and military families and those active duty Marines and sailors, Air Force men and women, soldiers, coasties, and others in Homeland Security, and along Ohio's border to the north, as well as the United States borders. He's stood with the men and women in uniform day in and day out. He's also stood up for the right issues, including ensuring that America's automobile industry, Ohio's automobile industry, survives a recession not of our making, not of our choosing, but the solutions are, and the solutions speak for themselves. We're seeing a rebirth of the American automobile industry right here in the state of Ohio. And frankly, if Josh Mandel believes that Sherrod Brown's vote on the American Automobile Rescue Act was somehow un-American, what's he think of Paul Ryan's vote in the House of Representatives? Any questions?
Yeah, well, Generals, should Josh Mandel either, number one, know better than to, as a soldier, throw around the word un-American, or number two, as a soldier, have a certain sense of latitude when using that term?
I can't speak for his military training or career, but personally, as a soldier who served 35 years in the military, I think it's unrepresentative of the best that the U.S. military has to offer, and I think it reflects badly if you base it strictly on his military, which I'm not doing, base it solely on his military background. I think it reflects badly on him, and frankly, as a soldier, a fellow veteran, I'm embarrassed by his choice of words. I think it reflects perhaps poor judgment and perhaps immaturity on his part to use that term. It's inflammatory and does not, in the context of your question, reflect well on the military.
It's like a foresight.
I'll display my ignorance. I haven't seen a transcript of the back and forth at the dispatch. The one quote that I saw was he used the word un-American in relation to the Delphi pension issue. Was there more to it than that?
In the context of the American automobile industry and its rescue by the President and Senator Brown and others who stood up and extended short-term credit to two of the big three and thus protected the 850,000 jobs, there's an additional question about continuing to ensure, as Sherrod Brown has fought to do and will continue to fight to do, to protecting the pensions for those who were employed in the past at Delphi that was associated with General Motors. Senator Brown continues to work hard and will continue to work hard to stand up for those families who invested in their pension systems and by no fault of their own saw their company struggle. If we were to examine the facts, Josh Mandel is opposed to the American automobile industry, thus he would have been opposed to providing any assistance, in this case, to the Delphi retirees. When he was asked by dispatch editors, I believe it was editors, I don't think Joe asked the question, but the editors themselves, whether or not he supported the American automobile industry, Josh spent about 10 or 15 minutes extrapolating and speaking beyond that particular piece of legislation about the free marketplace and free enterprise system and perhaps the weather. And he finally got around to Delphi. In that context, he suggested that the president, Senator Brown rather, and his vote was somehow un-American. It's that kind of toxic language just has no place in this arena. Regardless, we, as you see today, are standing shoulder to shoulder with those who have actively served and members of the military to say enough is enough, Josh. Enough is enough.
You know, I want to add one comment, and it's not in my area of expertise, but if you go on the website and Google Delphi bankruptcy, there's a GAO report that talks about the pensions and how all that came about. You'll see the federal judge, his role versus Senator Brown's role, and you'll see that his charge is baseless if that's what it was based on. Okay, so this, don't take my word for it.
I guess what the phrase un-American, was it used at any other time besides, because the quote I saw, he said something like it's un-American to take pensions away from Delphi workers, managers, whatever. That's where I saw that word un-American. Was it used in any other context during that debate?
Not that we know of. I'm not sure if he used it when he was pretending to be from Southeast Ohio, when he was in the coal fields a couple weeks earlier. I'm not sure if he used it when he was ducking and running from national reporters asking him questions about the $15 million that had been funneled into his campaign. I'm not sure he used the words un-American in other instances, but in this case, and in any other case, it's absolutely inappropriate, and his words must be taken down.